Joe Munoz, OneStepPrep.com. All right, let me share a little tip with you. Somebody called us up. It was maybe like about a week ago, okay? And he came in and he said, hey man, I'm having some issue with my landing flare. I'm fresh on OE. I want to impress my check airman. Okay, so we went into the sim. He wasn't feeling comfortable with the flare, and I'm going to share with you what his problem was. And my approach to it was, how about you do the flare, do the landing. I'm not going to brief you on anything quite yet. I want to see what your issue is. And then, all right, let me take you back this way and share with you what exactly his issue was, because it was actually very simple. And the first landing in 20 minutes, I was able to correct the problem. So check it out. I'm going to draw something on the board. Those of you that are A320 pilots, maybe you can relate to this. Actually, by the way, the same mistake, you could do it in a 737, but it's really apparent in a 320. So here's what his issue was. Maybe he's watching this video right now, like, Joe, man, you're sharing all my secrets. You're sharing my issues, okay? He flared high. First approach, again, I didn't brief him on anything. I wanted to see what his issue was. And I actually suspected he was flaring low because his previous background was RJ, regional jet experience. And of course, in a 320 versus an ERJ, you're sitting a bit higher, which means the perspective suggests that you would need to actually flare a little bit higher just because of the seat position being different. But anyway, without getting into all that, here's the deal, right? This airplane, this A320, has a little something called auto thrust. And of course, with auto thrust, it's connected to control your thrust automatically, okay? So on your speed tape, you have this thing here called VLS. It stands for lowest selectable speed. And then you have over here your alpha prots, and below that we have alpha max. Now let me share with you how this particular candidate or this client was flaring high and landing hard. That was his issue. He's flaring high, he's landing hard. So he flares high, his airspeed drops off, it runs out and decays. His airspeed starts to go down here toward the VLS, and as his airspeed drops off, the auto thrust recognizes a low speed and adds power. Now, those of you that are not familiar with airplanes with the engine mounted under the wing, thrust application brings the nose up. So here he is already flaring high. The airspeed decays, the auto thrust recognizes it and adds power, which brings the nose up, and he ends up way up here, nose high, with engines spooling, and then he would chop the power and basically be nose high, out of energy with idle thrust and drop, and he would have a hard landing. Worst case, that's a good way for you to also get a tail strike. So I guess what I'm saying is, in a landing flare, especially on this A320, you want to keep energy on your side. Energy is always your friend, okay? And if you find yourself in a scenario where you're flaring high and auto thrust is adding power, it's probably a better idea for you to just execute a go around, all right? Just do the go around flaps, get out of there, come back and try it again. The last thing you want to do is, number one, the most crucial thing not to do is to get a tail strike. Definitely don't want to do that. And apart from that, which would be number two that we don't want to get, is obviously a hard landing. So anyway, nonetheless, we corrected his issue. The way I corrected his issue was by having him put his eyes to the end of the runway. And by the way, this is Private Pilot 101, right? By placing your eyes at the end of the runway, you can judge a little bit better using your peripheral vision, some depth perception, right? Number one. The other thing I had him do, apart from flaring lower, is to delay the thrust reduction. He was closing it awfully early, and that, of course, was also putting him in a position where he would run out of energy. So, hey, if you want to train in a sim with myself or with Juan, one of our other one-step prep instructors, go to the Contact Us page and send Shally a message. Call the office, or you can even go to the in-person courses. Just book it yourself, and we'll be in touch with you to get it all set up. All right, hope that helps you, and look for more content with little tips like this here shortly.